Let me move into a more central position. What a nice background this is. Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to GBFC2, the second channel of the George Benson football channel, but the home of England Road to 2021, or should I say, the road to Euro 2021. When I make mistakes on my videos, I try and just own them as opposed to re-recording them, because I want it to feel as though the conversations that we have here, both on GBFC and GBFC2, are the kind of chats that we could have if we were to meet up in a pub, which you can now do in the UK. Congratulations to those of you that have waited a year to go to the boozer for a little pint. We can have these kind of conversations if we were to be sitting there over a nice cold pint of beer on a warm spring day, although it's been snowing in the UK, so I won't be saying warm too much because you guys will get jealous because it's bloody 30 degrees here. But England, Road to Euro 2021, episode number 2. First things first, if you haven't seen episode number 1, then you might want to go and check that one out before we get into this video today, because in episode 1, I spoke about my England 11, and my England 11 was built, and I missed out a very key player that you guys went nuts on in the comments below. We'll get into that in a moment. But it's based off of, at the time of recording, that would be the starting 11 that I would pick if I was Gareth Southgate at this point. There's still a lot of football to be played between now and the end of the season, be it across European competitions, Premier League football. There are some players that have really only started their seasons in the past couple of months that we're going to talk about today. They are coming in with a real shout now to actually breaking up what was, in our heads, a squad that was going to be very difficult for Southgate to narrow down, but one where, in particular, someone like Jesse Lingard 4 months ago wouldn't have even had a bloody sniff. So we're going to talk about him today, but the first player that we're going to talk about and focus on is a man who has come up with 32 goal contributions this season, and I will hold my hands up and say, from the bottom of my heart, I screwed this one up massively. When I made my England starting 11 in episode 1, I totally forgot about the quite brilliant Marcus Rashford. 32 goals and assists combined total this season so far. For Manchester United, Rashford is in incredible form. You add into that the fact that he's had a couple of injuries throughout this season as well, there would only really be a few people that could probably argue that Rashford is not quite good enough for the England squad. However, his statistics certainly show that he is ready to be playing for England. And I think the fact that when we look at that attack, you guys also said in the comments down below, when we look at the attack that I built in episode number 1, it is predominantly featuring right-footed players. So Marcus Rashford, who plays on the left, can also cut in on his right and scores plenty of goals with his right foot, but is also incredibly competent with his left foot. I believe that I missed a trick by completely omitting Marcus Rashford from the squad, not just my starting 11, but I also missed him out on the bench as well. And arguably there's not 23 players total on the pitch right now, but I would be lying if I said that I hadn't completely forgotten about Marcus Rashford when it came to me building that team for episode number 1. So, bearing that in mind, if I look at the starting 11 that I built, I think it's quite clear that it's either between Sancho and Jack Grealish as to who would make way in order to accommodate Marcus Rashford in this side. And if I was to hazard a guess in terms of which one of those two would be the most logical to actually miss out as a result of Rashford coming into the starting 11 at this moment, it would probably be Jack Grealish, because unfortunately for Grealish, although he had a very good start and middle to the season, he's been picking up a few injuries in the last part of the season. So at this moment in time, Jack Grealish is still out injured. He's not playing for Aston Villa. And I think considering there are so many good England players, not just in the Premier League, but you've got the likes of Bellingham, Sancho, both playing for Borussia Dortmund right now, who are seriously coming into some great form. I think there is so much competition for places within this England side, particularly when we look at that midfield and progressing into the attacking areas. It's going to be very hard for anybody who is injured between now and the end of the season to really knuckle down a place. And as good as I think Jack Grealish is, and I think he could be an absolute match winner and a game changer for England come the Euros if he is in fact fit, I think at the moment it would be Grealish that would drop out to accommodate for Rashford in the starting 11. I also think the scary thing, if we look forward to what Marcus Rashford can not only do in the Euros, but for Manchester United next season, he's supposed to be having some surgery this summer, which I'm not entirely sure if that is 100% factual or not. But if Marcus Rashford can sort out these little problems that keep seeing him pick up small injuries, then I think it is a very scary prospect for the rest of Europe, the rest of the Premier League. When we look forward to the World Cup in Qatar in 2022, Marcus Rashford is only going to be developing further. He's going to be becoming a better player. And I think he is just one of many, as an example for England, of quality young players who are only going to develop over the coming years. So when we look forward to Euro 2021, yes, England are one of the favourites, which is definitely a topic I want to discuss in an upcoming episode, because being one of the favourites isn't always good, particularly when you know what England are like in major competitions. But I think the future for Marcus Rashford, for both United and for England, is incredibly strong. So I ate a slice of humble pie, got that one wrong. Thank you to those of you that commented. I've put a couple of them up on the screen now. Marcus Rashford, there's absolutely no doubt that he belongs in this England squad. And I think the starting 11, it could still be touch and go as to whether he makes it. But based off of reflection, I think right now I would take either Sancho or Grealish out, and I would put Marcus Rashford in, depending on whether or not Grealish is fit. I actually think I'd pick him over Sancho at this moment in time, based off what I've seen this season for Aston Villa. We move into story number 2 of this Road to Euro 2021 episode, and we've got to give some airtime to the quite magnificent Jesse Lingard. Just a few months ago, he was kind of the brunt of jokes on social media. People were saying how everyone still treats him as if he's 21 years old, but actually he's in the peak years of his career. He's not playing football. He's not been featuring for United now for a couple of seasons. What's he going to do? West Ham come knocking on the door with a pretty good side, having a very good season. All of a sudden, Jesse Lingard's given his opportunity. He's starting matches for West Ham United, and his statistics are absolutely incredible. I think it's 8 goals, 3 assists in 9 Premier League games for West Ham United. This kind of form, there's absolutely no reason why, between now and the end of the season, West Ham will not propel themselves and finish in a top 4 place in the Premier League this season. It sounds absolutely ludicrous in my mind, and as much as I'm a Chelsea fan and West Ham are a London rival, I cannot sit here and give anything other than praise to what West Ham have done this season. And bringing in Jesse Lingard in January has been an absolute stroke of genius. Lingard has come in and he's been a game changer for them. They've had Declan Rice playing in front of the defence, who's had a wonderful season, controlling the tempo for West Ham, putting in the tackles. He's out injured now, but even Declan Rice is sat there on the sidelines looking at his England and now West Ham teammate thinking, blimey Jesse, where have you got this kind of quality from? And I think with Lingard, it's always been a case where we've seen it for England in the past, where Jesse Lingard, he scored a brilliant goal. I think it was against Panama in the World Cup in Russia. He's got that kind of quality and ability, but he's just needed someone to back him. And there's a lot of football players out there like that, where they play very much off of emotion, where they need to feel as though they're a key and important part of the side in order to actually contribute their very best on the pitch. And I think at West Ham, he's been given a focal point in the side. He got off to the ground running, and now he's irreplaceable in this West Ham team. And I've even put something on the screen now, which is a link that Real Madrid, Inter Milan, and I think Paris Saint-Germain are looking at Jesse Lingard from Manchester United this summer. United have put a 30 million price tag on him, and with his current form, with 11 goal contributions in 9 Premier League games, there is absolutely no reason why Jesse Lingard should not be in that 23-man squad. The interesting thing when we talk about Jesse Lingard making the squad is it would probably end up with somebody being replaced as a result of that, be it one of the youngsters. You've got players like Bukayo Saka, who plays for Arsenal. Sorry, I got that wrong, correcting myself again. Saka for Arsenal. I think Callum Hudson-Odoi, he's starting to play well for Chelsea, but there's no chance of him making this England squad for the Euros this summer. You've got James Maddison, who a lot of people say should be in the squad. You've got Harvey Barnes at Leicester as well. I'm not mentioning the names of like Mason Mount, Phil Foden, because I think they have to be in the squad. And if neither of them make the squad, unless there's an injury, I think it is absolute robbery. And Southgate has had an absolute nightmare of a day if that is the case. I wanted to raise the question about Jesse Lingard in the England squad in this video today, because as with always in this series, it is all about what you guys say in the comments. I take your comments, I start to dissect them, we look at the previous performances, which with Lingard, he scored 2 goals in a massive Champions League battle against Leicester at the weekend. To see West Ham win the game by 3 goals to 2, his 2 goals were the difference. So, Lingard in the England squad, I'm going to give my opinion here and say, I've not made up my mind as to who it's going to be yet that misses out, but based off of current form, he has to be in that squad. And I'd even argue, if I look back to my England 11, that maybe he has to start. And maybe we look at Phil Foden off the bench or Mason Mount off the bench, but I personally cannot sit here and vindicate a decision to not start Mason Mount for England. So, going to leave that for another episode, but wanted to address both Rashford and Lingard in today's video to see what you guys have to say about both players in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy episode number 2 of England Road to Euro 2021, be sure to hit the like button on the video. If we can get it to 500 likes, that would be wonderful. We're almost at 10,000 subscribers too, so make sure you're subscribed here on GBFC 2. Champions League semi-final tonight, Chelsea and Porto. I'll be doing my reaction to all of the results once the games are finished on Wednesday. Thank you guys for watching. I will catch you all later. Come on, England.